give and you give. You give your whole fucking life. And what happens? People just tear you down. Why do people destroy their gods? How is it fair that you get saved while a beautiful, perfect God gets killed? You know what, Chelsea? I think you should jump.
I don't think I want to.
You don't want to? Why don't you show a little follow-through, Chelsea? Jump.
Please, I just want to get down.
I'm not suggesting anymore. Jump.
Oh, please. Oh, God, oh, God.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? It is No One here, and today I'm back again talking about Xbox. Good old Xbox. I know it's been about a year and maybe like 8 months or something like that since I last talked about my quote-unquote favorite platform, but just a little spoiler alert, that's quickly fading out just with the way that things have been going. But I'm here to talk today about a very hot topic in the gaming world, especially for the past couple days. But I just want to go from where I talked last time about the downfall really of Xbox here recently. I know that has been happening since the Xbox One era. I'm not tone deaf by it because it's just a fact. The brand itself has not been the same since the 360 era, and as much as I have enjoyed some things that the company has done, ultimately this is not the same company that was around with the 360. I mean, this might have been the same company back then, but at least they made some smart choices with their own customer base. But we'll go over where we stopped last time. So just a little short timeline here. The reason I was so upset the last time I talked in February of 2024, we had these rumors that Xbox was going to get rid of console exclusive games. I believe there was a report that Gears of War and the next Halo game would be on PlayStation 5 and other platforms. I was really upset about it, not for the fact that, PlayStation was getting these games. I really do not care. I want as many people to enjoy the games as possible, and it's cool. However, when you start porting over your exclusive games, there is no reason to buy a console, because you could play all on a different, platform. Let's say this. Had I known, let's say the PS4 era, because this was around the time that almost, all my friends were deciding, hey, I don't know if I want to do Xbox anymore. The PlayStation exclusives are, they look really appealing. I like the way, I think at the time Infamous was out, and then especially with the way that Xbox handled the rollout for Xbox One, where they were talking about, DRM and always online and the required connect and the $100 extra charge you're going to have to get to just get the base console. Ultimately, most of my friends decided to stick with Xbox. Some of them left the PS4. But had I known back then, I know it wouldn't have affected me during that generation, but had I known back then and just made the switch to PlayStation, if all exclusives were going to be ported over, I might have done it. Honestly, I do enjoy Xbox. I've always loved Xbox. My first console at home, I believe we had a PlayStation 2 first. Me and my brother played that all the time. We have fond memories playing the Lego Star Wars games on there. And then, I think a year after it came out, my dad got an Xbox, like the original Xbox, for his birthday, and it came with Halo. And ever since that, happened, I have been a big Xbox fan because I really loved Halo. I played it constantly when I was younger with my brother. And after that, we bought a 360. I played all the Halo games on there. And then, I just kept going and going, especially with the memories that I had made on the 360 with my friends, especially during middle school, where we'd go home and we'd play Black Ops 1 and Halo Reach. It was just such fun times, and we'd spend countless hours just on Xbox parties during my middle school and high school days. But getting off of that, if I had known that, we'll just say the game that has made me stick to Xbox for so long, and that's Halo. If I had known that Halo was going to get ported over to PlayStation, which as of my recording this in October of 2025, that has not happened yet, but we'll get into that later, I definitely would have switched. When you have a console that only has exclusives like PlayStation, Nintendo, and let's say, I mean, it's already happening, I don't know why I'm saying let's say, but when you put other games that you could only get on one platform that has exclusives that will not be released on other platforms, you go with that console because you're getting everything with one console, and the other one you're just getting what everyone else can, but you're losing out on some. So I guess, if it's a really convoluted way of me saying that, it's like, why would I go with a console like Xbox where I'm going to get what everyone else is getting, but I don't get the day one release of, actually, that's a perfect Ghost of Yodi, or Yodi. I did play Ghost of Tsushima on my PC, and I have enjoyed it, but that's what I'm saying. You don't go with the Xbox if you're gonna lose out on games. And I know everyone was like, exactly, that's why you don't stick with Xbox, and you should have been on PC or PlayStation for this long. Again, the reason I stayed on Xbox is for Halo. And as of today, it's not been ported over. Now, I know that PC has had the Xbox games for a little bit now, but that wasn't the case the start of the Xbox One generation. And yes, I probably could have switched to PC during the Series X days, but I'll go into why consoles are important still. I mean, they're not that important today, but I'll go over that later. But February, we get that announcement, or those rumors building up that Xbox will no longer be, having exclusives. Well, the backlash was so huge that Phil Spencer ends up having this little business podcast that I covered, but ultimately they reveal that there's only 4 games going to get ported over, and they're games that's already been out for a little bit, and that was Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Pentiment. And then later on that year in November, Phil Spencer just completely walks back that statement, and it's just like, I could see any franchise that Xbox owns going multi-plat, and that's day one. So yeah, it's actually insane the amount of time that passed that statement completely null and void. Then later on, we go to May of 2025, and it might have been beforehand. Microsoft does their, I think it was around that time. I don't remember exactly. But I want to add this to this video as well. They announced that The Outer Worlds 2 is coming out, and a lot of other consoles like Nintendo, I don't know if PlayStation had done it yet. They might have, where they wanted to raise the game prices to $80 instead of $70, which honestly, in this economy and everything else, it's just really tone deaf. And I remember not even 3 or 2 years ago when they raised the prices to $70 minimum, and I thought that was insane too. But I've gotten to the point now where it's kind of normal. But moving off of that, I hate that it has become normal, especially with the rise in digital gaming. I think having to charge that much for a game is insane, especially when, you're not printing or, putting a thing on physical, copies as much anymore. But anyways, going off of that, we get a announcement in May 2025 that all Xbox consoles are getting a price increase by a minimum of $80. I'll probably put on the screen right here what the original prices were, and hint when I say original, I also meant to say the original price increase. So keep, mind of that, even though we know, if you are, in the loop here, what happened. But then later on we find out, well, this was announced beforehand, but August, Gears of War Reloaded is released day one on all platforms. But Xbox does get Helldivers 2, which is a phenomenal game if you haven't played it. Then later on, after August, in September, Microsoft announces that there will be a second increase in prices for consoles, and I believe that included accessories. But they raised their prices by a minimum of $20, and at the most it was $60 on top of the already established raised prices. And they'll say it's on tariffs, but I'm sorry. Are we really raising prices on 5-year-old hardware? Are we really saying that it's that much more expensive to make these consoles? I think it's a lot of hogwash and baloney that we have to raise prices, especially on a console that didn't sell nearly as well as its competitors. But whatever. Another way to shoot itself in the foot by the Microsoft Corporation. And then we get to today, or this past week, where we get announced that Game Pass prices are raised around the world with a minimum of 50% increase in the US. So it went up from $20 on Ultimate to $30, and this is the problem I really have. Why are we raising prices for Game Pass that is all digital? I don't get that. And a couple weeks ago, I think it might have been around August, there was some game show where they asked Sarah Bond how Game Pass was doing financially for Microsoft, and she was saying it's doing way better than it ever has, and that it's very profitable and everything. So here's the thing. Either one, she was lying about that, or two, Microsoft is just so greedy that they want to squeeze out another $10 out of its users. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, they did include new stuff to be added into the subscription itself, which they're talking about Fortnite Crew, and I think it's Ubisoft Plus, or yes, Ubisoft Plus, and that's only for the legacy games. So older games that have came out already, like the older Assassin's Creed games. It's not the newest Shadows game. I'm not exactly sure where it stops on other franchises, because anymore Ubisoft just puts out crap. So yeah, I don't think that's that big of a value. And Fortnite Crew is $10 alone. So even if you do play Fortnite, it's not really a deal. Well, I think it's $11.99. So you're getting what, $2 you're saving a month if you're use that as well. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous to have this forced price hike whenever some people don't play Fortnite now. So anyway, moving off of that, I just think it's dumb that we have had to quote unquote add value to Game Pass and make everyone go up to a different tier, or sorry, not tier, but a different price that they don't have to pay. And yes, I know that Microsoft has all these games that they're not doing well, standalone sales wise, especially Call of Duty. No one is buying Call of Duty as much now just alone because they can get on Game Pass Ultimate. I don't see the reason why, you have to do that, especially if you're being so profitable as Sarah Bond says, if we take her at her face value. And I know a lot of people have talked about it, but what they should have done in this circumstance was offered add-ons to Game Pass. And what I mean is, if you want Ubisoft Plus, or if you wanted Fortnite Crew, you could add it on for an additional $5 or whatever to the actual price. But yeah, that's what they should have done, is do add-ons that if you want it, you can put it on there. And you can make it a little bit more expensive. Make it $26 if you want Ubisoft Plus, or $28 if you want Fortnite Crew added on. But keep the price at $20. $30 is insane a month. $360 a year if you're just doing the recurring payments to play games. At that point, you should just go back down to Game Pass Core, which is just the Xbox Live Gold, and just buy games outright again. And yeah, it's so stupid that they would make this announcement and they've recently updated everyone, and I think there was a email sent out to EU users of Xbox Game Pass that they said if they kept their subscriptions going, they could keep the original price because the EU has very consumer-friendly practices. However, I've yet to see any email for anyone in other countries or the US, or I think I should say, especially the US where I live. But yeah, so that's really not happening anywhere else where that's being offered. And besides the point, that's really not fixing the issue. What they should have done is just walk back the price as well. But I've come to either two conclusions here. Either one, Microsoft has realized this is not as profitable for them anymore because they've bought so much stuff that they have to keep a close eye on Xbox now, especially with the Activision Blizzard deal. So they're just raising prices, and they're like, well, if it sticks, we'll make money. If it doesn't, we can just, cannibalize Xbox itself and just, cruise on Game Pass and let it just be the main platform now. I really don't know the other option is. I just feel like it's either, yep, you're going to pay these prices. If you don't, we're just going to get rid of the division itself at this point. And I know that there were some rumors that this was a big one, that Xbox would stop making hardware, even though they did that AMD announcement in the summer where they had like a 10-year partnership, which they ended up releasing the ROG Ally X and S or whatever, which the prices themselves are ridiculous in its own right. But yeah, so they had announced that they were going to make newer generation consoles, but now that's up in the air according to some leakers. Now, Xbox has reinstated or made a statement saying that they are still committed to making hardware, but at this point, I see no reason. I have been, since the last year announcement of the exclusives, I have just been slowly moving to PC. I've had a PC, as I stated in other videos, that could run games. It just couldn't run the latest games really well, especially in 1440p. But I was slowly, as last year, actually, I've put a lot into it since last year, since that last video. I put a new graphics card in it, switched out the RAMs for higher capacity. I got a new power supply to help power the graphics card a little bit better. There's a few other things I need to do for it just to future-proof it. Yeah, I've just decided at this point that whatever Microsoft decides to release, that it's just, there's no reason. There's zero reason. And I did make a statement earlier in this video that consoles are important for certain reasons, and literally, I don't know why I said that, because the only reason I'm bringing up the importance of consoles is an upcoming release that everyone is excited about, and that's GTA 6. As we all know, Rockstar just doesn't tend to port their games over to PC in the first year, and that was all I was alluding to, is that there's some games that you have to play console first and then wait for it, which I'm already used to for some, if not all, PlayStation exclusives. So I guess it's not that big of a deal, but I definitely cannot miss out on, playing that whenever it's available. So what I was getting to by the end of this video is that I'm done. I'm officially done with Xbox. I think the nail in the coffin was the Game Pass, and it sucks because, as I've stated, I've been a Xbox user for a very long time, and yeah, and I said this in the last video, when you get rid of any reason to make hardware anymore for Xbox, that's whenever it's just going to go down the tube. And I believe that there's been, like I said, rumors that they're wanting to go to all streaming and then having Game Pass be the platform, especially with those stupid ads now where they're saying that everything is an Xbox. But when everything is an Xbox, nothing is an Xbox. It's just a buzzword at that point. Just change it to Microsoft Gaming or whatever. But going off from that, like I said, it's just, I'm not going to stick with a sinking ship anymore. I'm done. The last game I will purchase for my Xbox Series X will be GTA 6. I think the smartest decision, especially with all these raising prices in consoles, at this point, it's more feasible just to build a gaming PC and play on it. And I have suggested that to so many people that I know, and a lot of my friends have started building gaming PCs or have been on it, and that's just the way to go, I think. PC gaming, I thought it was really overrated back in the day, just because of how expensive it is. But when everything's expensive, you might as well just go with the best option. You can get both exclusives. I don't know why I say exclusives for Xbox, because there's none, but you can get everything the PlayStation gets almost all on PlayStation if you just wait a bit. That being said, I know I pretty much said a whole lot of nothing. Just really recounted everything and, you know, updated my thoughts since then. But yeah, I'm not sticking with the console that if, you know, there's really no reason to keep it going. And all my digital games and everything like that probably be wiped out in the next, you know, 10 years if the way it's going. I mean, it might be drastically shorter than that. I've come to terms with it, and I can just rebuild my library on Steam or whatever. So with that being said, it's nice talking to you guys again, whoever, you know, is watching this video. And yeah, I'm gonna try to make more videos. I keep saying that in every video, but I really miss getting back into content creation and making videos. It's one of my favorite things to do. This past, been about, what, 13 years now. So yeah, I do it sporadically, but enjoy doing it. But that being said, this is just me, just rattling things off. But hope you all enjoy, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.